Alrighty, everybody, welcome back for week 11 of the Managers Review podcast. Uh, Not a ton of stuff happened this week. Some interesting matchups, some crazy individual game performances from some players. Uh, the Jacob Mizorowski faced the minimum in a 15 strikeout gem, put up 48 points for Matthew, as well as on the same day, Yordan Alvarez hit 2 home runs in 1 inning. Pretty crazy. So today we're gonna do a little bit of fraud watching. I'm going to show you guys how to identify frauds, and likewise, people who are underperforming. You can use these stats to see who's legit but looks like ass, and those who are ass but look legit. We'll do a little bit of a rookie lookie. I'll recap some rookies who had maybe started hot or have come up, who are still playing. We'll see what they look like. Um, Now, Gray and Brooks are surging recently. They've taken home wins in back-to-back weeks. Brooks might even be on a 3-week win streak, which is pretty great. J-Ram hit the IL. That's unfortunate for Sam, as well as Acuna for Oz. So I assume they're going to be looking for some replacements. We'll talk about that all on week 11. But let's get right into it. So for Fraud Watch, let's go ahead and take a look at Baseball Savant. So I just opened up Baseball Savant here. And we want to go to leaderboards. Custom leaderboard. So now we can put whatever we want in there. Batting. Where's the standard, man? Oh, here we go. Yeah, so unselect all, and then we want to go down here to Babbitt. Bing, 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 bing. So, 410, 180. And look who we have here. This stat tells you how lucky or unlucky a player is getting. The higher it is, the luckier they are. The lower it is, the unluckier they are. And guess who's sitting all the way at the bottom is a Manny Machado. Or all the way down at the bottom, Manny Machado at 180. That is ridiculous. No player is ever going to have something that low. Also, notice Dansby Swanson down here. He typically runs lower BABIPs because he's always putting balls in the air, getting under stuff and swinging and missing a lot. Doesn't put a whole lot of balls in play, like suppresses his sample size. Plus, fly balls typically run lower BABIPs than ground balls. But yeah, there's a couple other dudes. Evan Carter's sort of the same problem. He's a fly ball guy. But let's take a look at who might be the top frauds. Of course, Brandon Marsh, he's hitting like 332. This is sort of what he does. But 405 is definitely unsustainable. There's a cold streak coming for him at some point. Same probably with Otto Lopez. Kurtz is hot. Kurtz probably runs higher BABIPs. So what we can do is we can go and look here. Take a look at Kurtz here. What did he run last year? So this is what I do. So he ran a 364 BABIP last year. So maybe 386 isn't actually that crazy for him, but who knows? We need a little bit more data to understand that one. Because he's a great hitter. Jack Caglione, also running a very high BABIP. Ezekiel Duran, not a guy with a great track record. I'd be skeptical of his production moving forward. Tatis, he puts the ball in play tons. Wilson Contreras, he'll probably come back down to earth. But you always have, it's important to compare it here to standard to their career BABIPs. So he's typically running like 310 and he's 357. So that's 40 points high. So some regression might be baked in for Wilson Contreras down the stretch, but maybe not as much as we would expect as if some guy like fucking Brent Rooker running a 357 BABIP or Jack Caglione. So that's a really great tool that I like to use there. StatCast basic stats. We can also do a rolling chart if we want to find this. That is more, but this is what I like to do. So batting average minus XBA or X slug if you're looking for some power. That's not really relevant in our league, but let's do XWOBA because this is a more comprehensive stat. This stat also, all these expected stats, all of these here, comparing it to what their actual is a really great strategy. And I like to just use XWOBA because it's a comprehensive stat. So, so now we got both of them. But so our XWOBA, our WOBA, so this is the guy who is underperforming the most, and that would be Ernie Clement. So his WOBA is 0.06 higher than his XWOBA. So he's overperforming. These are the overperformers. Cedon Rafaela, he's a streaky guy. Buxton, interesting to see up here. Spencer Horwitz, yeah, not really surprised. He's on a heater. Liam Hicks. Arise always will. That's just who he is. Chapman up here, interestingly, because he's not had a great season. That's sort of surprising. Marcus Simeon, Brandon Nimmo, yeah. So great. If you're listening to this, Brandon Nimmo should hopefully shape up soon. Jackson Merrill, Notice Ketel Marte, Bo Bichette. I mean, these are all guys who have really amazing track records, who their underlying numbers over here are telling you that they're awesome. They're just getting a little bit unlucky. Maybe not walking into the best contact, facing good pitchers. Who knows? Or having really great defenses against them. All of this sort of stuff. Notice Machado's here again. Yordan Alvarez here as well, which is just nuts because he's also having an amazing season. Tatis is finally turning it around. Notice Cam Smith is here, a rookie with no real track record, but was pretty hyped. Is underperforming his XWOBA. Harper Joe Adele. Salvador Perez, interestingly, is number 17 on this list. But these are, this is just what I go with. So BABIP, these X stats. If they're a power guy, if there's some dude who's got a lot of power or is supposed to, I like to look at their pull error rate. I like to see how pitchers are pitching them. Like, let's just take a look at Marcus Simeon. Maybe this will be interesting. But like, I'll scroll down and see that's interesting. So pitchers are throwing him way more breaking balls this year. Way more. I love to look at this, and you see there's a steep and slow decline, and this year it's kind of hit the top. So this is a definite change in approach by pitchers. So that's something interesting. And you can see, like, how is he doing against him? Wow, he is pulling the ball like crazy. That's really great. But, ooh, jeez. The sliders are killing him. Same with sweepers. He's struggling against the off-speed stuff, but on breaking pitches. But on off-speed stuff, he's doing all right. Splits, changes, sinkers. Anything with arm side movement on a righty, he's still doing well against. But yeah, that's something interesting. That's something tangible here. That's another that pitch mix is something I like to look at. Now, for pitchers, I typically like ERA estimators, which are not on Baseball Savant. But let's set up Baseball Reference. Or no, I want Fangraphs. So I don't love to use Fangraphs, but it's got all the xERA stuff. This is the fraud watch for pitchers over here. So I'm looking, and in 2026, Davis Martin's got a 2.4 ERA. Now his xERA is more than a point higher than that. He threw a gem against the Braves, but xERA doesn't like him. However, fielding independent pitching still says he's a great pitcher, and xFIP agrees. So there are some more other ones down here. So this is batted ball data. Sierra likes him a lot. So the more of these models that I look and see that the number is lower, the more I am convinced that the pitcher is good or might end up being good. And xFIP FIP, Sierra, XERA. XERA, I've heard, is the least accurate or has the most going on with it in the formula. So I think Davis Martin's going to be pretty good going forward. That's a guy that his savant is not knock your socks dead, but all of his expected stats really like him. Um, so that's typically what I do if I want to know if a pitcher is a fraud. I go look up their Fangraphs and look at their xERA, just as a very basic thing. Now, another thing that I do is look at K minus walk. So a guy that told me he was going to be pretty good after maybe 4 or 5 starts or so was Emerson Hancock. Now his stuff is a lot of blue, but these 2 red bars are two of the most important ones for a pitcher: his strikeouts and his walks. Now, a 20% K minus walk rate is great. League average is about 15 ish, somewhere around there. So he's doing 5% better, both in limiting men on base in the form of walks, but also preventing balls in play via strikeouts. And that's a combination for success if you're a pitcher. So I looked at this and I just saw how good this was. That's 5% better than a normal pitcher. And decided that I can sort of ignore these other things while maybe considering that, okay, maybe he'll be good, but he won't be amazing. He'll have a bad start or two. And that's sort of what's happened to Emerson Hancock. Left on base percentage. I'm not really sure where a great place to find left on base percentage is. Let's just look. It's probably on Fangraphs. So we're going to learn something together. Left on base percentage. Here we go. So it is right there in the main column, as well as with his BABIP. So these are all fraud stuff. Homer fly ball, that's another great one. Where league average tends to be around 12%. So he's given up a couple more homers than you might expect him to give up. But that's today. Okay, 2026. Yes, left on base percentage 80%. So 73% is average. So the higher it is, the luckier they're generally getting. Right. So because the league bats about 250 on average. If a guy is in scoring position or on base, you would expect him to get knocked in about that amount of time, or get left on base around 73 to 75% of the time. Now he's running a little bit higher than that. Not only is he getting help from his park, but he's got a pretty good defense behind him. I'd be grading out that this might be average for him. He's not getting unlucky, but if he regresses, maybe not. Overall, great thing. This is the BABIP you want to look at again. 257. That's pretty low. Although pitching in Seattle, I bet that this is that their pitchers have lower BABIPs overall. But that's really low. So, and you can just go to the StatCast leaderboard for all these. But that's my general observation, or what I look at when I'm looking for frauds. Who's fraud? Who isn't? But with that covered, I mean, this is really all you need for pitchers right here. This stuff. That's great. And just remember the league averages and that every player has their own average for these stats, and it's good to cross-reference them with their career numbers. Now, moving on, we're going to do a little bit of a rookie here. So I'm going to go through. I've went back, looked at some rookies this year that are playing. I haven't included anybody on my team, just because I don't know. I do this for you guys to listen to, and if I'm doing it on players that I know about and have researched and that are on my team, that's not a lot. But I can tell you that I believe all of them and that they all look really good, and I like them. So that's about all the rookies on my roster. But we'll move on. First couple up, I grouped these two together because their profiles are so similar, even though they sort of do it in different ways, and that's Kevin McGonigal and Chase Galater. They're basically the exact same hitter, aside from their batted ball profile. So Galater hits more fly balls. McGonigal is a bit more of a slap hitter, line drive, ground ball guy. But McGonigal is just slightly better off the bat. He hits it a little bit harder. But these guys are high floor dudes. They've got awesome plate approach skills, and that has continued in the major leagues, just as in the minor leagues. And it's important to note before I go through all of these that all rookies are going to slump at some point during the season. You know, it's garden warfare out here. When a hitter is doing something well, the other teams look, they adjust, the hitter adjusts back. That's what's happening in baseball a lot of time. And it can be easy to think of these things as random events, but a lot of times they aren't. We just treat them that way. So, yeah, but these guys aren't frauds. They're good. They get a check mark for me. DeLauder might not have had as much power as maybe people thought, but he still looks pretty good, creating lots of walks. Now, this other next dude I am sort of concerned about a little bit. That's Travis Bazzana of the Guardians. So he's got a plate approach first profile with great speed. The X stats just really hate him, and that's because he makes poor contact. Now, he could outperform those stats. He's got a good enough sprint speed. He's like 80 percentile sprint speed. It's not knock the socks off, but it's good enough. And he's smart enough that I think he could make that go. He's got a lowish BABIP at 301. Being a slap contact guy, I expect that to be a little bit higher. Trey Turner has run like 320, 330 BABIPs his entire career. But I'm still worried about him, despite the fact that this is basically the profile that we expected to get. Now, an outfielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Ryan Waldschmidt. He's on Oz' team. Travis Bazzana's on Julie's team, by the way. And DeLauder is on Owens, and McGonagall's on Ryan's. Ryan Waldschmidt, he's got plate approach problems. He's got great bat to ball skills, and he's got good power, but he isn't squaring the ball up, and he's not seeing the ball well at the plate right now. He's great at pulling the ball in the air. He's been getting ahead of it tons and pulling it, but he's not making solid enough contact for him to really cash that in like he maybe should. Pitchers are not scared of him. They're throwing him tons of balls in the zone. If I were you, Oz, I wouldn't care about dropping him. You got a couple good weeks out of him. But if you wanted to hold on and hope for that upside, I wouldn't blame you. Either way, definitely a guy I'm sort of scared of. Trade with caution moving forward with him. Now, next up, another guy I'm really seeing is Gage Jump. Gage Jump, his savant page looks great. He was a great pitcher in the minors. He's got awesome stuff. His K per 9 is pretty great. But he's got some volatility going on there. And that's because he's a weak fly ball guy. He's got a rising sweeper, which is great. There's another guy I'm going to talk about here that also has one of these. But in Sacramento, that's sort of scary, a fly ball pitcher in Sacramento. Something doesn't sit right about that, and it sets him up for blow-up starts occasionally. That's just my fear. He's good enough that I think he might not deal with that all the time, but I don't think he's a fraud, but I think he's susceptible to circumstance here with the way he pitches and where he plays. So maybe I'd be careful about pitching him against teams that can lift the ball in the air pretty well. Now, like the Angels, they whiff a lot, but they hit home runs. Now, speaking of crazy stuff's going on right now, Ryan and Jack's matchup. We'll come back to that later. But oh man, Shannon up. I don't know what's happened, but anyways, so we'll move on. Christian Scott on Owen's team. He's a pitcher who's had some pretty good weeks recently. Another fly ball pitcher, a guy who's got a sweeper that rises, and he's able to get weak fly balls on it. XERA doesn't like him because of that, even though it loves Gage Jump for some reason, which I thought was curious. But his chase and whip percentages are really low. He only gets 4% ground ball, so he's not really going to get any double plays. And he's got good extension. He's got a 16% K minus walk, which is about league average. I think he's just a guy who might blow you up occasionally. Most weeks you're going to be good, but every now and then he's going to put up a stinker. So pick your spots carefully with him, but I think he's a usable pitcher. Semi-fraud to not fraud. Connor Prelip on Gray's team. He's rocking a 4.07 xERA and a 14 K per 9, 14% K minus walk. Another fly ball pitcher here. Maybe a theme. fly ball pitching for rookies. Didn't expect that. He could be sleeper, but this guy's floor really scares me. With how many walks he gets up, kind of a lot of hard contact. He'll probably be usable, but he's a pretty low floor dude. Don't love it. There's probably something better out there. Carson Bench on Ryan's team. He had a lot of hype going into the year. Was drafted or was undrafted. I picked him up for a while. He didn't do great. But now we're a couple months into the season. He's been getting regular at bats for the Mets, and he's looking pretty good. His Savant page is pretty red. It's looking great, but he Ks a lot and he doesn't walk. So I'm afraid that we got floor problems here, which we sort of saw in the first month and a half or so of the season. Plus, he doesn't pull the ball in the air, so that power might be a bit capped as well. I don't think he's a fraud, but his flaws are plainly obvious, and he's probably going to be pretty streaky. I think that if the second he starts going cold, he might just be a drop. Now, another guy on Ryan's team, Cole Emerson. Hasn't been in the league for a while, but it's been 3 or so weeks. He's not qualified at all on StatCast, but he's sort of struggling making good contact. He's not really qualified anywhere, so I don't want to make any big assumptions, but because he hit, 2 home runs this weekend? So we still have to wait, but I'm starting to question how good he is. Definitely not a drop yet, but somebody who maybe not is telling the whole story right now as far as his performance. Now we're going to move on to our waiver wires, and after this, we'll close out with our matchup recaps. Again, a light bit of the waiver wire segment, but there are some guys who I think are must pick up, and that would be Cole Carrig was going to be the first one I talked about, outfielder for the Rockies. He doesn't have plus power, but the hit tool is still amazing. And with how cavernous Coors is and batting average boost, he's going to get a lot of doubles and triples, and he's got plus speed. We're talking generational speed for this guy. He doesn't strike out a ton, but he doesn't really walk because he swings so much. This dude should be rostered. I'm thinking like how Tatis is playing right now, slapping the ball all over the place, tons of speed, taking his doubles, getting a triple, occasionally hitting a line drive out. He has that kind of upside, and so I think he should be on someone's roster. Next up, sort of a post-type sleeper rookie, AJ Ewing. He's an upside faith play. StatCast doesn't like what he's doing right now. He hit a home run today. He went 3 for 4 or something in the Braves game. But I think he's struggling a little bit versus lefties. Let's take a look. Yeah, hitting 154 with a 438 OPS and 26 at bats versus lefties. Not great. But against righties, he's hitting 304. So maybe he gets platooned by them, but I still think he's going to be useful. You might just have to watch his playing time a little bit. I think somebody should pick him up. That's just me. He's the least important of these first 3 guys, though. The next 2, I think, is probably must roster. And I would say Sam would be the guy to do this, although he could just pick up Troy Johnston to fill his slot, would be Jordan Lawler. He's a top prospect who's been plagued by injuries and bad management from the Diamondbacks, but he's consistently put up great numbers in the minors. He's an average guy, but he could have plus power. You got to watch his strikeouts, just like most of these prospects. But he plays third base. If you're looking for a dude with some upside, a lottery ticket, pick him up. I think he's your best chance. And when he played the first few games of the season, he was looking really good before he got hurt with that hand fracture. Now, some shortlist dudes that I'm going to quickly run through. If you need somebody at this position, I think this is a decent guy to go for. Royce Lewis, he's back. He was in the minors. He started mashing. The Twins brought him back up. He's playing first. He's playing third. He's playing second. He's playing everywhere, and he's hitting home runs while he's doing it. So If you're looking for hot hand play at third base, maybe you are scared of Lawler for whatever reason. I'd pick up Royce Lewis, especially playing time wise. Lawler might not get that. At second base, Altuve hit the waiver wire this year. That zero strikeout anchor. Somebody could get him. Matt McLean, Chase Mydroth, although he did look like he got hurt in today's game. They're all good guys to plug at second base. Bogarts and Swanson. Swanson, like we saw, maybe getting a bit unlucky, but Bogarts and Swanson are guys. If you really need somebody at shortstop, they're useful. Outfield, Carlos Cortez. I think only 4 righties on the schedule next week for the A's, but still a great bat, especially with Rooker on the IL. He's going to see you a bit more playing time. Caballero, a speed first guy who hits for average. Not super interesting, but you can plug him in a bunch of different spots. Cam Smith, like I said, he's underperforming. If you're looking for an upside play, he might be worth it, although the floor is pretty bad. Troy Johnston, I think Sam just picked him up. First base, we've got Spencer Torkelson's floating around out there. Wade Meckler. Sorry. Torque is really the only first base option I think is worth it. But Wade Meckler and Dylan Cruz, these guys are sort of post type dudes, especially Dylan Cruz. I think if you're looking for a deep name upside play, Dylan Cruz in the outfield could be a sneaky guy to watch your eyes on. I think he's very streaky. We just haven't seen a hot streak yet. That's my opinion. Wade Meckler been getting some traction. I don't know about him. Take a look if you want. Now let's move on to our matchup recaps. Now I'm recording this at 6:44, so it's before our last game of the day on Sunday. And geez, Tampa Bay's in trouble here. They got the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th. But yeah, let's take a look. I'm going to go through some matchups. We'll talk about guys, what I think of them. So we'll just go start with me and Sam. Sam was on a bit of a winning streak, won a couple in a row. His team looked great. Not quite as good although, bro, Hunter Goodman went 5 for 6 with 2 home runs today. The guy turned it on. I mean, that was basically all of his production this week, but Stephen Kolek topped the list for Sam. Sam, he's turning out to be a pretty useful pickup for a rotation in KC that desperately needs it. But headliner for me was Bryce Eldridge, waiver wire pickup, rookie guy with tons of plus power, but tons of swing and miss. Always was a high upside play with insanely low floor. But I got the good this week as he went 10 for 22 with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and finished with 40.25 points. That is exactly the margin I won by. So I'm happy I picked them up, as well as the Mets turning it on, looking good. Mets in San Diego, not quite looking as bad, helping my team out. Soto had 33 points. Bichette had 30. Tatis had 27. Walker Buehler 26. Good stream for me. Devin Williams got 18. All looking good. Most of my pitchers only got 10 points, funny enough. But the bads, Rooker on the IL. That stinks for me. Strider donated a -8 before he then blew up his right elbow in the 4th inning. On Sam's side of things, Brian Wu had a really nasty start, along with Jack Leiter and Carmen Machinsky. Parker Messick, Robbie Wade, just all at the bottom of the list. Sam's pitching sort of failed him this week. That's just pitching. Daniel Palencia also blew a save. Overall, everybody just sort of doing. Riley Green, saw him at the BABIP leaderboard. That's a little concerning as a guy who hits homers and had a lot of swing and miss. But the goods, Geraldo Perdomo finally had a really great week. Mike Soroka threw a gem. So did Tanner Bidey. These are guys that are all just bind your roster. Don't think anything special happened in this matchup besides Bryce Eldridge finally turning it on. My pitching staff's not special. I think they actually topped out. But looks like I'm going to win in the margin of about 30 points. So GG's for that one, Sam. Chris touched up Owen 366 to 211. It was a pretty nasty day today for Owen, besides Kyle Harrison, who looking great. That guy's good. But Max Meyer, Freddie Peralta really had to sink the nail in today. But overall in the week, Jackson Churio 13 for 29 with 5 home runs. Soderstrom 8 for 21 with 4 home runs. The A's playing in Vegas against some not great teams. Who knew? They would have turned on with their lineup a bit. Of course, Brick Hucker could be in there for that. But on top of that, Sam got some great pitching, or Chris got some great pitching performances from Gosman, Miller, May, Bednar pitched 3 shutout innings. All good stuff from Chris. The guys who are struggling continue to struggle. Bad starts on Owen's side from Chad Patrick and Bryce Elder. I definitely would not have. Yeah, Patrick had a rough week. Oof. But moving on, most everybody did fine. Sort of a down week for Owen's hitters for the most part. Wilson Contreras had 24 points as well as Beaker Armstrong, and Henderson had 18. But those are guys who sort of get that and you go, okay. It's really the other dudes. Nomi Marte got 14 points though, so hey. Same with Spencer Horwitz, 11. So I'm gonna glaze myself a bit on that one. Woo! Brooks came out swinging this week. 341 points against Will's 293. Not even that bad a week from Will, but he ran into a bit of a juggernaut. It seems in the past couple of weeks. Ivan Herrera 35 points. Matt Chapman 33. Yamamoto in an 8-inning gem against the White Sox. So, all good stuff. Brandon Young continues to toss the ball amazing. As well as Brooks Lee continues to be pretty productive. Not a guy I saw coming. The downs for Brooks. Kyle Freeland, not a great start. Garcia out of there, drop him. He's done. Green Holmes had a bad start. Jared Duran had a rough week. Tyler McGill didn't do amazing in one of his outings, did great in one of his other ones. Other than that, everybody did just about normal. Zach Geloff turned it on. He was a great stream this week, playing in Las Vegas for the A's. So good job on that one. TJ Rumfield did well on Will's side. Christopher Sanchez, 2-step. Only got 6 points in one of them, but still ended up at 32 points. That's just how good he is. Which some trade rumors going on for him. Hopefully that gets worked out. Julie, if you're listening, I heard Rodon might have to be part of the deal. Not entirely sure what's going on there. Liam Hicks continues to produce 10 for 25 with a home run this week, 31 points. Michael Busch turning things around, looking like the player that I thought he might be when he was traded to Will. The downs. Corey Seager, Ildemar Vargas, Ezekiel Duran. With the exception of Seager, all of these guys at the bottom can be gone from your roster. Colin Ray, Steven Matz, Rico Garcia, Ezekiel Duran, Ildemar Vargas, they're all bad. And you can get rid of all of them. You could drop literally any of these guys and pick up some of the dudes I talked about earlier in the show. I think they would be better than this. So that's going to do it for that matchup. Moving on. Gray, again, another guy not playing around this week. Put up 353 points against Connor, who had a bit of a rough week. Not the worst, but not the best. James Wood on his side put up 40 points as well as Pete Alonso. Chisholm finally turning it on. He went 3 for 18 with a home run. 5 4 RBIs, 5 runs, a triple, put up 26 points. Good despite the low average there. Ernie Clement had a sneaky week. Chase Burns, great start. All good stuff here from Connor. Now the downs, the Dalton Varsho. He's gone. Jackson Holiday didn't get a bunch of starts from him, but the real stinker was Ryan O'Hearn. He went 5 for 25 with just a home run and 11 strikeouts. That's a tough one. Shane McClanahan, Roop, Garrett Cole, Connolly early. They all had sort of rough starts. They got you points, but not as many as you wanted. Limited innings. Just inefficiency from all of these guys. They threw a lot of pitches. Garrett Cole coming back still. Munoz, rough week, even with the save. Pasquantino finally on the IL. Hopefully that'll get him right. Not a ton of news for Gray, but Logan Webb threw an incredible 16 innings for 57 points this week. So He's probably going to be this week's top scorer. That's amazing. Reed Detmers, wow, through great game. He looks like an amazing pickup. Dalen Lyle almost got 30 points as well. Otto Lopez, 11 for 27. I mean, these are guys we all knew had some upside who are producing. Detmers, Lyle, good stuff. Christian Walker, 21 points. I was sleeping on him so hard. Bubba Chandler finally threw a good start. But Brandon Marsh, rough week 4 for 23. Connor Prelip, tough start. Justin Robleski's day-to-day. Didn't throw that well. And Willie Adames, wow, after the amazing week last week, ended up going 1 for 20 with a walk and 5 strikeouts. Man, fantasy baseball sucks, doesn't it? Either way, though, Gray still took home the win, so congrats to him. Now, the big dog, Matthew, put up 440 points. I mean, my God. Somebody take this kid in. 48 from Jacob Mizorowski in that brilliant start we talked about earlier. Otani, 4 for 11. 2 homers. Kid looks great. Nick Kurtz, 9 for 24 with 4 home runs. Buxton, 10 for 19. 37. He's hitting over 500 this week. Jordan Alvarez, 10 for 24. 2 homers. Lede continues to math. I mean, just a list of guys that are killing it so far this year. Okamoto, 17 points. I mean, you just scroll all the way down. Nobody had a bad week. And then you get to the bottom. Austin Riley was benched most of the week, and he went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts when he was playing. Colson Montgomery, 2 for 11. Gavin Williams, Peyton Foley, not great starts there. And Daniel Lowe didn't really get slotted in too much. Other than that, not much to say. Matthews guys are winning. That's great. Julie's top scorer was Mason Miller. Now, that will just tell you all you need to know about the week he had. The guys at the top are those who you would expect, except they got just a little bit less points. Rodon, Bowers, Bellinger, Slittler, Langoliers, all over 15 points. Even Kyle Stowers went 4 for 17 with a home run, but it was not enough. Gage Jump, 5 innings, not amazing, but serviceable. The downs, I mean, all these guys got less than 5 points. Luis Garcia Jr., Travis Mazzana, Josh Young, Spencer Jones, Chandler Simpson, rookie Sasaki Tatsuya Imai, and that is bottom 2 hit. I mean, those were rough outings. -10 and -4.5. I mean, even if they had great starts, maybe you get another 50 points, but you're not getting close to 440. Just take it on the chin and move on. Matthew looks unstoppable. Now, Jack and Ryan have yet to finish the matchup truly, but it looks like Ryan is going to get out unscathed against this one. Earlier in the day, Ryan was only up by half point, 250 to 255, with only 3 games still active on the slate. Now, luckily, Ryan's guys came in. Kevin Arrow hit a home run. Jonathan Aranda, 2-5, and Shannon was only 0 for 1 with a walk. He got hit by 2 pitches, especially when that would have been ball 4. It's not over yet, but I suspect Ryan is going to pull this one out. On the week, though, Burleson, 5 home runs, 4 in consecutive days. I mean, my goodness. Drew Rasmussen, one of the best starts of the year, 33.7 innings pitched for a win. Awesome stuff there. Dylan Dingler, absolutely mashing, and the numbers back it up. Same with Jordan Walker. These are guys that are looking great. Altuve, Luke Bar, Trey Savage, bad start there. Gleyber Torres did well, but he was not in Ryan's lineup for most of the week, and the Tigers have good hitting matchups coming up. He'd be a dude I would consider starting or trying to trade if I needed a second baseman. O'Brien and McDonald also had bad pitching performances there. Ryan's remedied this all off for the most part, trying to add some guys. I like Lars Nootbaar. He's looking pretty good. George Springer didn't get played when he did. He sucked. 3 Ks, although I think he had a home run recently. Ended this week. This is for Jack. Skeens had a 2-step, got 38 points. Can't complain about that. But until I see some roster moves for Jack, I don't think I'm really going to be talking about his team. But guys, please, it is that's gonna do it mostly for today. But I'm gonna cap off with just saying don't lose sight. Just try and log into the app once a week and hit that quick lineup button, bare minimum. I appreciate it if you guys listen to this stuff and take my advice. But of course, you don't have to. I just want everybody to still be active and be giving themselves a chance to win. Because it's baseball. Anything can happen week to week. Ryan almost lost to Jack. And Jack hasn't won a single week this week. And it's mainly because he's not paying attention, not because his team is bad. Now, with that said, we're going down the stretch right now. Stuff is, it's baseball. It's going to be variable. It's going to change. So if you're sticking with it, paying attention, asking questions, bare minimum hitting that quick lineup button, managing your IL, making sure all your slots are filled, you should win a week or two down the stretch if you're doing bad. And most of the people who are doing bad, guys or earlier in the year they were doing bad, Gray and Brooks, they've turned it around and are going to be 500 after today. So anything can happen. We're only halfway through the season, just about. So I'd stick with it. And come August, I think the landscape is going to look a whole lot different. If depending on how you guys do. But that's going to be it all for me this week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys at the end of next week. Cheers, everybody, and bye-bye.